The Lowrance Eagle series was intended to replace the Lowrance Hook Reveal series. But is the Eagle actually worth buying, or should you keep looking for another fish finder? I tested the Lowrance Eagle 7 to find out who it works best for and who should avoid it altogether. Let's start with everything that I like about it. First of all, one of the days that I tested it, it was bright, sunny day. And I know a lot of people struggle with seeing a fish finder screen, either because they're wearing polarized sunglasses or because the sun's just glaring down and reflecting off the screen and it's hard to see. While there were some moments that the sun reflected and it made it a little bit difficult to see, for the most part, I had no problem seeing the screen as far as the brightness levels was concerned. The Lowrance Eagle offers features at a similar price point and sometimes even cheaper than its competitors' similar fish finders. So let's move on to sonar. I love that there are multiple options. You've got side scan, down scan, and your traditional chirp sonar. So no matter what kind of angler you are, Lowrance covers the spectrum with a budget-friendly fish finder. However, I can't speak for the side scan and the down scan because the transducer that I was sent to test is only capable of chirp sonar. But in my testings, the chirp sonar was a little bit clearer than the Hook Reveal, which I've tested in the past, and I was easily able to tell the difference between fish and structure thanks to the fish reveal technology that they carried over into the Eagle series. Now, I was asked by Lowrance to come to the product revealing at the Bassmaster Classic this year, and one of the things they bragged about was the upgraded sonar. As far as I can tell, it is a step up, but it's not like a tremendous leap up. After all, these units are still in the same price range as the Hook Reveal. Another thing that I loved about this fish finder in particular was how simple it was to set up. I'm not keeping this fish finder, so I needed something that was simple to set up and simple to take down since it wasn't a permanent install. And now granted, I've installed several fish finders now, so I've kind of learned the ins and outs and what to do and what not to do. But I did run into a few problems doing that, and that's because I tried to mount it on my trolling motor. And if you want to check out the install process and all the problems that I ran into, I'll leave that video linked right here. But overall, the install and setup process was pretty simple with the Lowrance Eagle. So let's move on to what I didn't like about the Lowrance Eagle 7. First of all, I mentioned that I tried to mount it to the trolling motor. I did mount it to the trolling motor, but it's really not an ideal position for that. Number one, if you've got the side scan and down scan, it just won't read properly. Trolling motor moves too much. It's designed to be mounted at the back of your boat. So if you're looking for a fish finder to mount at the front of your boat, this probably isn't for you. Also, when you're buying it, you need to be sure which transducer you're buying. On the cheaper end of the spectrum is just your basic chirp transducer. And on the high end of the spectrum, it's typically your side scan transducer, which is generally labeled SV and then a number. You might think you're getting a good deal on a fish finder when in reality you're just not getting as high end of a transducer, so be sure to look at that when you're buying it. Speaking of buying it, we've got links down in the description below. If you decide this is the perfect fish finder for me, we appreciate you using those links. It allows us to continue reviewing expensive products like this at no cost to you. So when I was installing it, I noticed in the box it came with a maps card. I was honestly really excited about this because I thought, well, these maps are got to be better than just the regular old maps. So I popped in the SD card, headed over to the maps, and they weren't any better. And I actually don't think they were as detailed as the generic basic maps that come on the Lowrance Hook Reveal. So I was pretty disappointed in the maps. Now, maybe I pushed the wrong button to access them, but even if that's the case, then I was using the basic map still, and it's not as detailed as the basic maps on an older fish finder, which I think is a shame because I've found a lot of great fishing spots just by looking at the map. And so I think it's critically important as anglers that we have accurate and good mapping, and I just wasn't impressed by these maps. The last con, I mentioned that I mounted this on a boat. It's a 16-foot bass tracker, not a giant boat, but I mounted it at the front, intending to fish and be able to glance down, look at the fish finder, and keep fishing. But the 7-inch screen just wasn't quite big enough for this. Now, I do most of my fishing from a kayak, and a 7-inch screen tends to be what I like the most. Now, obviously in a kayak, I can go bigger to 9, but the 7-inch screen just isn't a big enough size for a boat. I'd recommend stepping up to at least the 9-inch screen. But if you're fishing in a kayak or a John boat, 7 inches is plenty. So who the heck is the Lowrance Eagle 4. This is an excellent series for beginners because it doesn't involve all the features that are available from Lowrance, but it gives you enough to learn the basics, get those down, and then expand a little bit from there. So I love this fish finder for beginners. I also love it for kayak anglers because they offer small enough models that it doesn't take up too much room and they're easy to fish around. Also, if you fish from a John boat, the Lowrance Eagle is perfect for you as well for the same reasons as kayak anglers. However, you tournament anglers, Lowrance Eagle is not for you. You're gonna need more features than the Lowrance Eagle is capable of giving you. Also, you might not like Lowrance's setup or fish finders in general, and you need to try a different brand. Lucky for you, I've got a video down below me that compares Garmin products and Lowrance products and everything you need to know to decide which is the better brand for you. I can't wait to see you in that video.